everybody, welcome back. My name is Cassie. I am the Evil Secret Ninja, and this is my booktube channel. Today I'm doing my weekly reading wrap-up, or reading vlog, or whatever you want to call it. And this week I finished 7 books, so I guess that's semi-normal for me. For my treat this week I made some cookies. These are s'more cookies. So that's why I have a treat to eat while I'm reading this week. Alright, so let's get into the books that I finished this week. I finished Lux by Brandon Sanderson and Stephen Bouls, and this is the new book in the Reckoners series. This follows the Texas Reckoners, and the Reckoners are about a world where the star comes called Calamity. Certain people are now given superpowers. These people are called epics, and they're all evil. So there are no good epics. The power that they are given corrupts them, and they lose their humanity in return for having these powers. This follows a group, they call them the Texas Reckoners, and they are going to defeat the epics in the city of Lux, which is a floating city above Texas. And it's supposed to be a utopia up there, but of course there's more going on than just as what they see. Enjoyed it a lot. My kids liked it. The next book that I finished was Of Sea and Shadow by Wight. This is the first book in the Elder Empire. This is the Sea saga part of it. I guess it's part of there's 2 series and they happen at the same time. They're just following different characters. So Of Sea and Shadow follows a boy on 2 timelines, and in one he's trying to save his father, and in the other timeline he's trying to save his wife, and they're both in the same prison. He's breaking into the same prison twice. I will say that neither one of these breakout attempts goes as planned. The magic in this series is based on giving objects the ability to do their job better. So they would give their boat the ability to float better, or something like that. And obviously you can give abilities to objects that are not related to their specific function, but it doesn't work as well as if it is for their function. I did enjoy this one a lot. So the next book that I finished was Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. And this is the first book in the Legacy trilogy. And this follows some royal houses and some royal families in a country, and they've had some semblance of peace for a while, but there's been a lot of tension. And so now with their children, they're just coming to some battles and trying to overthrow people in power, and a lot of betrayal. And I really enjoyed this book too. The only problem I had with it was it was not the amount of characters, and the character was written really well, so you had a pretty good idea who they were talking about. But a lot of times the author would call them by their first name, and then other times you'd call them by their last name. So it was a little, it took a minute to realize oh, this is the person they're talking about. So you really have to know who the characters are. And there's a lot of political intrigue. There's a lot of kind of creatures who have certain magical abilities. So anyway, I really enjoyed that one. The next book that I read was I Go Quiet by David Ouimet. This is a book about a girl who's an introvert, and she is talking about her experience in the world. And it is a picture book, and it's got some really great pictures and stuff in it. So I really enjoyed that one. The next book that I finished was Paint Yourself Calm. And this is about how to use watercolor to help calm your mind. And it's not really about painting anything specific. It's just about using watercolor as a way to calm your mind. So here's something that I painted based on the things in the book. And I have to say, it's really cool kind of watching how watercolor works, and it is rather calming. So I finished that one and found it really kind of cool. The next book, the 6th book that I finished, was Deadly Waters by Dott Hutchinson. And this was So it was like a murder mystery kind of thriller book, and it's about follows these girls at a college campus where there is a lot of assaults. The girls on the campus are being treated very poorly, and they don't feel like they can speak out about it because nothing ever happens to the boys who are treating them this way. I have to say that there is a lot of assault. There's a lot of things that happen at this campus to these girls. And while I know like that kind of stuff happens, and it does happen frequently, and maybe that was the point, is to like bring together as many stories as they could about these type of assaults and how they affect the girls when they go to college, want to have fun, they want to enjoy themselves, but they're constantly blamed for how they dress and what they're doing. So one of these girls is targeting the men who are treating women poorly, and she leads them out into the woods so that alligators will catch them and eat them. There are officers involved in this because the amount of people being eaten by alligators has gone up a lot. I thought this book was pretty good. I thought it was a little bit over the top. I've kind of noticed that Dott Hutchinson's other series was that way. And I guess, well, I know that there is a lot of victimization and that women are victimized in the world. I feel like it was a little over the top. And the last book that I just finished it, was The Wormling Horde by David Farland. This is book 7 in the Rune Lord series. And I have to say, like, this one has gotten a little bit darker than the first, I believe it was the first 4 books. So we'll just say that, like, all of the magic and everything that we learned in the first 4 books and how useful it was and how it helped people is now being turned against them. It's quite intense. So that is the one that I most recently finished. Okay, so now I'll get into the books that I am currently reading. So currently I'm reading The Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. This is the first book in the Codex Alera. I should finish it today. This is fantasy series based on the Roman Empire and Pokemon. It's quite different than the Dresden Files, and I feel like so far it's pretty good. The next book that I'm currently reading is Master of Sorrows by Justin Travis Call. This is the first book in the Silent God series. This is about a boy at I don't know if it's like a magical school, I would say, but they go and they collect magical artifacts because magic is evil and they need to keep it hidden from the world. And this is also like a chosen one trope. However, the chosen one is supposed to be the villain instead of the hero. And the last book that I'm reading right now is The Crown Tower by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the first book in the Rhaeria Chronicles. And I guess this is like how it all began, this epic friendship. And I just started it, so all I can say about it is I know it's like an adventure fantasy, and I guess listening to what other people said about it, I got the impression that this was just kind of a light, airy fantasy, and it's not. There's some really not very good things that happen right off the bat. So, but I am enjoying it. Okay, so those are the books that I'm currently reading, and so after I'm finished with those, these are the ones that I plan to pick up next. I plan to pick up Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. This is the first book in the Something Dark and Holy series. This is a young adult fantasy. I guess it's about a girl, a prince, and a monster. So I'll be excited to see what it's about. And then the next one I'll pick up is Of Dawn and Darkness by Will Wright. This is the second book in the Elder Empire series, the Sea Saga. I'll be continuing that series. The next ebook I'll pick up when I'm done with Crown Tower is Protect the Prince by Jennifer Estep. And this is the second book in the Crown of Shards series. This is also a young adult fantasy. The queen is assassinated, and obviously the person that orchestrated the assassination has now become the queen because she framed someone else. And that other person who is supposed to be the queen is going to come after her and take back her kingdom. And the first book was pretty good, and so I'll kind of see what happens in this one. So that's my weekly wrap-up for September 19th. Thanks everybody for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe.